You're going to love my next guest. His name is Todd Pigott from ZINC Financial. He is the CEO and the principal. Be prepared to be, the wealth of knowledge that is going to come at you. I didn't even know that this area of financing existed. Todd in studio, a pleasure to meet you. A pleasure to, even a greater pleasure just to learn about. I love learning new things. I did not even know this existed, and I love learning things that I was always curious about. And so welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me, and thanks for allowing me the opportunity to join you guys here at the station today. This is awesome.
Yeah, it is. And I really love companies, national reach companies that are able to invest in Fresno and stay in Fresno and have this reach. So it's fantastic.
Absolutely. So we're located right here in Fresno State. We have about 45 employees. And we're located not far from Fresno State, but we actually have a national reach. We're actually located in 12 other states as a private money lender, licensed here in California, but we extend a lot of the western states as well.
Nice.
Located right here. Our headquarters is right here.
Nice. What is ZINC for the listeners that might not have ever heard of ZINC?
Yeah, so pretty exciting. Most people think of lenders, and that's what we are. We're lenders as conventional in nature, FHA, Fannie, Freddie, and a variety of other things that they get a primary residence loan for. We're a private money lender, and what that means is that we get our capital from high net worth individuals and private sources, and then we lend it out in the areas of housing where it's underserved. And so what we are is we're a fix and flip lender, a rehab lender. We loan money on distressed assets across the nation to real estate investors that are going to fix up that property, rehab it to conventional standards, and then resell it for a profit. So those TV shows you've seen.
Yeah, that's cool. I got a big smile on my face. I love those things. I love watching HGTV and the flips.
And that's exactly what we do. That's exactly what we do. We've done over $1 billion of this. $1 billion over the last 20 years. We're located right here in Fresno, but we've done $1 billion across the multiple states. And we are part of that process where we loan money to these people, just like HGTV, that buy these homes, fix them up, and then resell them. We've also ourselves fixed and flipped nearly $100 million here in the Central California area. So we're very prominent in this space.
That is really cool.
Yeah, one of the largest lenders in this space, and it's pretty exciting. I'm very passionate about my job, very passionate about my career. I really enjoy what I do.
So if I wanted to start like Guillermo's flip or flop, I don't have any money, so I would come to you, right? And I'd say...
We are the outfit. We are the outfit that we do 20 to 30 of these a month.
Wow.
A couple a day on
loans.
Distressed housing. We loan money to real estate investors that buy these properties that are in terrible shape with the intent of rehabilitating them, improving the neighborhood, providing somebody a first-time home buyer, a home for a first-time home buyer, and then providing our investors a little bit of profit on the yield that they would get from that loan. So I really view this as a win-win-win. We improve the neighborhood.
Oh, yeah.
The investor makes a little bit of money, and our investors and our fund or our company also make a few bucks in the yield spread. So it's kind of a really neat thing to be involved in.
Is this big in the Fresno area?
It is big.
We have a lot of flippers.
Yeah. So Fresno came out in a couple of trade publications as one of the hottest areas to flip houses in.
No way.
Yeah, I think they were number 7 or 8 in the nation. So this is a very popular area. Central California is growing, and it is a very popular area to find distressed housing, rehabilitate it, and then fix it up and resell it. Absolutely. It's an excellent area to do this in. We're also very heavy in the Southern California and Northern California markets. Very desirable as well. You know, the Bay Area, Southern California, LA, San Diego. But Fresno is home to a lot of flippers. We support a lot of those flippers right here in this community. And
I was watching some of the videos that you have done on the website, and I was thinking, well, man, it's just so expensive here in the Central Valley. I was like, maybe if I ever wanted to do this, I'd do it like in the Midwest or something, because everything is so cheap there, right? But you were saying, you guys might want.
Hey, so that's a great question. People sometimes get trapped in that.
Yeah,
they think it is more desirable to flip in the Midwest, or my family's all from Iowa. My family, all my cousins, all my aunts and uncles are from Iowa. Gosh, homes there, 150,000 seems a lot more desirable, a lot more easier to buy and flip. The problem with that Midwest area, believe it or not, is it's oftentimes much less desirable. Yeah. So you don't have the population there that considers that a desirable place. So it can be a little bit risky. Even though we're in Ohio or Arkansas or some of these other states, it simply isn't desirable for the masses. Your Texas, your Florida, your southern states, or especially California. Believe it or not, in San Jose, typical home is $1.6 million. Believe it or not, we can sell that in a week. Where $150,000 in Tennessee may take months to sell.
Wow.
So California or even the Central Valley is still highly desirable. I call that our absorption rate. what's the absorption rate for the communities that we're lending in? And so if that absorption rate is very high, meaning that the properties are moving at a very high velocity, we consider that an excellent area to loan money to real estate investors that do this. The Central Valley has a very high absorption rate and a very high velocity. So this is a good area for us to be headquartered in as well as lend money in.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome. Todd Pigott from ZINC here, CEO, principal. Is it just like HGTV? Like you get in there and because everything that's on TV, Todd, is, I mean, it's true. I mean, they don't fake it there. Is it, they go in there and like, oh my goodness, I got to move this wall. How am I going to make budget? And then, what really irritated me was the show Flip or Flop with Tarek and I forgot what the gal's name is. And they never lost. One show, I wanted them to just lose money to make me feel better. Because, they're like, oh, my goodness, how are we going to do this? We're under. And then at the end, they give you all the numbers and they're like 30, 40, 50,000 in profit.
So we have, without giving names, we have loaned money to some of these people that are on the TV shows.
That is awesome.
We have actually loaned money to them and we've actually done some of that work. And so here's the truth. It is TV. They're trying to condense down the whole entire project into a 22-minute segment for a half-hour show. And obviously, because it is entertainment, they make it look a little bit more desirable than really it is, including the math of the transaction.
Even the math?
Even the math,
oh.
Yes. It is at times a little bit embellished a little bit on what they're earning and what they're making. But the truth of the matter is a lot of what does happen on TV is real life, too. I have done this. We have fixed and flipped nearly $100 million. And we've lent over $1 billion. So we've done a lot of this too. And it is true. That's a dirty, nasty home. It's got cockroaches. It looks terrible. You're moving walls. You're banging down drywall. And then, of course, you run into all these pitfalls, right? It never goes quite like you think, and so you do. A lot of it is, in fact, how it occurs. And so you do move the walls and you do put in new cabinetry and you do put on new countertops and stuff like this. The entire process for the average flip takes, 6 to 8 weeks if you have your act together. That's
pretty quick.
That's pretty quick. Yes. And so you do a lot of weekends, a lot of nights, and a lot of that does happen. And it's pretty rewarding. You took this house that's got roaches and rodents and, maybe it was a drug house or whatever. There's a few needles on the ground or something like this. And of course you're dimming it and cleaning it all up. And pretty soon at the end of the day, it looks like a model home. And it's perfect. The whole process takes about 12 weeks, between 6 and 8. And then with your listing time, about 12 weeks to get it.
Wow. That's cool. This has always been like one of the things. And I know a lot of listeners are like, because they see the shows and, we have a lot of entrepreneurial people in the Central Valley. Like, it can't be that hard. I mean, come on. It can't be that hard. I know a guy who knows the guy. I could do the granite on the cheap. I could do the cabinets on the cheap. What's wrong with that thinking? Or is it really that easy?
It is not. It is not easy. It's like anything. I mean, entertainment or the value of television makes it look simpler than it is.
Yeah.
It's not that easy. We've done a lot of this. There are a lot of pitfalls and a lot of things to watch out for, and there's no question about that. You got to be in the right location. That's very, very important. We call it our curbs and gutters theory. So you got to find that right house that's in the right neighborhood, and typically it has a fast food restaurant or a Starbucks or a church or a school nearby. So location is extremely important. And then, of course, you got to find that ultimately distressed property. It's an REO. It's fire damage. It's water damage. A lot of probate situations where people have lived in the house for 30 years. And at the end of the day, this house cannot be sold conventionally. And what I mean by that is this house is not ready for conventional financing. Government-backed financing, FHA, Fannie, Freddie, or whatever, they are going to require all these repairs to be done prior to that loan. So this leaves a real opportunity for the real estate investor to step in, of course, buy that property for cash or with a lender like ZINC. And, of course, we can provide even the rehab financing as well and give them the opportunity to improve that property up to, conventional standards where the pest work is done and all of the outlets work and the GFI and the self-enclosure pool gate, smoke alarms are in, CO2, and all that type of stuff is actually done and then ready for that first-time home buyer. Is it easy? It's not easy. There's a lot of things that can go wrong, and like with any project, but it is very rewarding, and our investors do make money. We actually track what our investors make. Our investors make between $25,000 and $75,000 per flip.
Wow.
They do a lot better in the Bay Area. Sometimes they can make up to 100 or even San Diego or LA markets. So it is done. We actually track this. I would say the Fresno market, because of its entry-level housing, I think our average investor here probably profits somewhere in that 20 to 35 range.
It's not bad for 12 weeks.
That's not bad. There is money to be made in it. Our investors do make money, and they do fairly well. But there's no question about it. It is hard. It's harder than TV makes it look, and there are some pitfalls to be mindful of. but it does work well.
Well, not only that, but you're really improving the community. That's what I love about this, because and we know, because we've all at some point, our listeners they've passed a property that's like, oh man, what an eyesore. And then, several months later, you're like, wait, is that the same house?
So here's a common scenario. We were at Ashland and Villa, and we did this house. The grass is overgrown by about 2 feet. There's tires to the left of the driveway. There's oil cartridges in the middle of the driveway.
Of course.
There's Christmas lights hanging off the front. The backyard is trash all over it. The inside has spray paint on the walls. This house at Ashland and Villa looks like a complete dump. We pull up to it. We put a loan on it. This house is going to be rehabbed. The neighbors, and this is very, very common, the neighbors come out. Initially,
of course, yeah.
Initially startled. Who are you? Why are you here? And then we explain who we are, and they get excited. They get very, very excited. It's actually a really cool feeling. Boy, the people that were there were bad people. The house is terrible. It's the worst house in the neighborhood. And they're excited that we're going to take this home that looks like a complete dump with old tires in the driveway, and we're going to turn it into a new model home in a period of 3 months. And so they're excited. They're happy. We show up to the property. We're the lender of record. The investor shows up to it, and they're turning it into something really cool at a very fast pace. So it's just exciting for the neighbors to see that this ugly house in the neighborhood actually becomes the nicest house in the neighborhood in a matter of a few months.
You're changing communities, you're changing lives. His name is Todd Pigott. He is from ZINC Financial. ZINC Financial. We have a listener, maybe wants to get into home flipping, or maybe, needs that loan, or maybe wants to invest, I guess, because you take investments as well, correct?
Absolutely. We have investors that invest in our company. They earn about 8 to 9% return on their money. And then, of course, we have the real estate investors that borrow money from us. And so either way, we have high net worth individuals that invest with us. We haven't lost money in well over a decade. They do very well. And then we have the individual investors that borrows money from us. So it's kind of a win-win for them as well as improving the community, as well as allowing a person to get into a first-time home buyer. So there's no negative downside to any of this.
I love it. When we come back, I want you to tell me about your nightmare flip. I mean, everything went wrong. I want you to think about it. When we come back here on the best talk in town, Talk Radio 1550 KXEX. Todd Pigott with ZINC Financial.
The Guillermo Moreno Show on the best talk in town. 1550 KXEX. Write it down.
Have you ever thought about flipping houses? I have. Have you ever watched HGTV and think, oh man, they can do it, I can definitely do it? My next guest in studio, Todd Pigott from ZINC Financial. ZINC Financial, a local company doing some great things for investors, for house flippers, for the community as a whole. I mean, you're beautifying Fresno.
We are beautifying Fresno, one house at a time, one neighborhood at a time. It's a pretty exciting venture that we're into here. 20 years. 20 years of doing this.
I won't get political, but I think you should flip City Hall.
That's on our agenda for 2023.
There you go. Yeah, I like it. What's the most difficult nightmare flip you have ever been involved in? Tell me, what's the worst?
Our worst flip. I've got a couple of them. A couple of our worst flips, but I'll tell you, they usually come down to people, not the property.
Really?
We did one by Hoover High School. This was about a year ago, that involved some, candidly, and I'll keep it kind of short. The lady had passed away, and then some squatters moved in, and the squatters were drug abusers. So we have 4 people that are in this house that they don't own, that we actually own or lend money on, and they're running drugs. And so this is a bad situation. We go through the eviction process, and of course that fails. And then we have to end up getting the city of Fresno involved that condemns the property. Then we end up getting the Fresno Police Department involved. Nobody can get these people out, so we end up having to cut the power at PG&E utility pole. It cuts the power to the property.
Oh my gosh!
Then we have to shut off water. The city of Fresno shuts off the water. The sewer backs up into the front yard.
Oh my god!
Then finally, we meet 3 squad cars around the corner with the city of Fresno and our crews, and we approach the property. There was a shooting at the property the night before.
Oh my!
Neighbor cars got hit, and so we have a shooting at the property, a drug-infested home, power shut off at the utility pole, sewer backing up onto the front grass, And then, of course, 3 patrol cars, us and the city of Fresno show up. We take the property over. We put plywood on the property to board it all up. The druggies move back in the next night. They take over the property. Police are out there again. We get them back out. They walk down the street. And then we actually get into the property. Here we have sewer in the front yard. The pool is green. The inside is a complete catastrophe. The fridge, it mold, mildew, roaches, rodents, absolutely terrible. So you put on gloves, you put something on your head because you don't want to touch anything, and then you start demoing the inside and clearing it out. You get a 40-yard cubic bin, and you start moving all this stuff out into some hazmat.
And you went in there and demoed it.
We did this. We did this.
Wow.
We demoed this, and we cleared out all their stuff. There's motorcycles. There's parts. There's dead carcasses of animals in the garage. It's just
my gosh.
It's absolutely disgusting.
Oh.
And so, but once you get the property cleared, and then we strip it down to the drywall. The cabinets are out. We strip the plumbing. It stinks. It smells. It's moisture. It's mildew. It's disgusting. And then you strip it down to the drywall. And then it starts to smell better because all that stuff is in a 40 cubic yard out in the front. So the druggies are gone. They're out. They moved on down the road. And of course, the Fresno PD was very helpful in us extracting them. We get the power turned back on from utilities, and we start the rehab process. 8 to 12 weeks, we're done. Looks like a beautiful model home. The neighbors are absolutely thrilled.
That's awesome.
We have it's got a new TV in it. It's got a flat screen. We redid the fireplace. It's got beautiful wood floors. It's got a beautiful speaker system. We put in LED can lights throughout the house. We put in all new oak cabinetry, nice granite counters, a new microwave, new stainless steel appliances, and we sold it to a family. They loved it.
Oh, thank God, because you were building it up, and I thought you were going to be like, and the squatters moved back in. I was going to say, oh my gosh.
Once the house starts on progress, where there's people there every day, the neighbors are helping. The neighbors are helping because it is like the TV show. You know, you're there every single day, and you're doing this work 7 days a week. You're trying to get it done as quick as possible. 7 days a week, you're there 10 to 12 hours a day. The neighbors are happy. They're helping. They're happy that the druggies are gone and that this house that had sewer in the front yard, that backed up in the front yard, they're happy that this is being cleaned up. So that's probably one of my worst stories. But the worst stories of a rehab project usually come down to the people because the property can be fixed. That just comes down to componentry from your Home Depot and your Lowe's. The worst part about it is getting people out of there that should not be in the home. And that's probably the most difficult. I've dealt with shootings. I've dealt with stabbings. We've dealt with threats. So getting those people out of properties that they don't belong into can be
challenging, right?
Absolutely challenging.
So have you ever been inside, and you know how on the movies you see like the white chalk outline of the body? Have you ever been in any of those?
We have not found a body. We found dead dogs, dead cats, but no body.
That's good. That's good.
But we keep waiting for that to happen, but it has not happened
When you
yet.
do call me, because I want to be like, wow, it's just like the movies, and they have like the exhibit number, like just left over there.
But we have been shot at. We have been chased with knives. We have had these things happen. You know, you're dealing with distressed properties in a neighborhood. Everybody has seen these properties. Everybody's been by one. You've seen the broken windows. You've seen the car parked on the front grass. You've seen the late night, stuff that goes on in these properties. So everybody's had one somewhere near their neighborhood or their family's neighborhood. And so our process is to clean that up across the country. Like I said, we're in 10 states and we do this, a couple of these a day.
No cash for keys. You haven't even been like, hey, I'll give you $1,000 right now. If you get out, you beat it. Here's $1,000 cash. I've done it.
Yeah. So that's a pretty good question. Yeah, absolutely. We have these large pink envelopes. They're 10 by 13. They're bright pink. And in there goes a letter. It's called Cash for Keys. And we go and we deliver it to them by person, and then we tape it on the front door. $750, $1,500, $2,000, whatever it takes to try to get them to leave. That works for the common person. It can work relatively well.
Yeah.
It doesn't work for the druggies or the squatters, because they don't care. They have nothing to lose.
You don't put the money in there first, right? You put the letter. Okay, good.
Yeah, we put the letter in there. We offer them $1,500, $2,500. Look, just leave the property, for goodness sakes.
Yeah.
Go smoke crack down the street or whatever it is you're doing. So we try to get them out with cash. But if they're really a menace to society and they're really those bad people, that doesn't entice them.
Yeah.
That's at the point where we get the police, eviction, courts involved to try to extract them from the property. At the end of the day, we go through that process. If it involves guns, knives, and drugs, Cash for Keys typically doesn't work. We have to do it through force, and force involves a court system.
Oh, yeah.
Fresno PD. and things like that. But once we get them out, then it comes to repairing the property. That part is relatively seamless.
Man, the stuff you don't see on HGTV, huh?
You don't see that part. You just see the drywall and the cabinetry. They don't show you how it got to that position.
See, that's its own show.
That's its own show.
Just don't, before the rehab, just, I don't know. I'm telling you, we got an idea here, Todd. I mean, Hulu, Disney, we could sell it. We could sell it.
There are some freakish stories out there with some of these people out there, especially in today's climate.
Yeah.
Over the last 2 years with the pandemic, it's even forced more of these scenarios to happen. So, and it's become harder to get them out. The courts are backed up. The court system is backed up. The sheriff's department, the marshal service, depending on what state you're in, has become backed up. It's a little bit harder and a little bit more difficult to have this happen. We had one in Stockton that we just finished this week. The guy was there for a year. It was an entire year that it took to extract this person, and we tried everything. But at the end of the day, the marshal service itself was backed up 3 months just on this process. So,
did squatters? Dumb question. Do squatters? Did they have pandemic rights during the pandemic? Please don't tell me. No way.
Yes.
No way. No way.
Yes. Any occupant that claimed to have either a verbal or a written rental agreement or a lease, that's all they had to do was claim that, and it immediately went to a different section of the courts, and we were prevented from, and that's caused a lot of problems because we're unable to get possession of the property. This Stockton property typically would take us between 30 and 45 days to extract a person who is living there illegally, not paying rent, or whatever the situation may be. But unfortunately, in today's environment, it can take up to a year. That's good for investors because they can find deals on properties where ownership is tired of dealing with that situation. But it's bad for society in general that we have these situations going on out there.
Yeah, man, gosh. Let me ask you this, because you're you know your stuff. The $1 million question right now.
Absolutely, I'm ready.
Are we headed into a recession?
Okay, so this is what we do at ZINC. The $1 million question: are we heading into a recession? And I have some pretty strong feelings on this. First of all, we manage a couple $100 million of investors' capital in distressed housing. And so we're very, very selective on what markets we enter and what we loan and what we loan on. As a result of that, we pay very, very close attention to metrics. And we get our metrics both from the National Association of Realtors as well as the GSA, Government Services Administration. And we pull two things. Number one, we go to the GSA, we pull this the analytics, and we chart this. We pull portfolio performance across the nation on how current loans and mortgages are actually performing. And so the first sign of stress in the housing market is that people have the inability to make their payment. That's the first step. Housing is, if it's going to deteriorate, portfolio performance across the nation is going to deteriorate. The first thing that's going to happen is that person is going to call their lender and say, I can't make this payment. I need a forbearance. I need a loan mod. I need a deferment or something. We take, and the GSA, Government Services Administration, tracks those metrics. They track the call centers. They track the call volume for people calling in with distress. They track this and they chart it. I take these analytics and we chart them ourselves. So we don't order a magazine. We don't go to the internet. We don't go to TV or any other periodical. We pull our data straight from the federal government. I will tell you, as of today, as of last week, portfolio performance across the nation, the only percentage that is in some form of stress metrics is what I call this, i.e. I can't make my payment, I need a forbearance, I need a deferment, is about 0.43%. It's the lowest in 20 years. So what I'm trying to say here is that the portfolio performance of the nation's loans right now are performing at an exceptionally high level.
Okay.
There is no stress for people calling and saying, I can't make my payment, I need a deferment, I'm trying to avoid foreclosure, whatever. Housing loans across the nation are performing very well. We're not going to have what we had in 05 and 06. Back in 05 and 06, we had collateralized debt obligations, which were buying these, and they were option arms, interest only, and a variety of other mortgage products. Those don't exist today. Predominantly what we have here is fully amortized loans over 30 years, full documentation, full income required. So most of the loan product out there across the nation is full doc, fully amortized loans. As a result, they're performing. 0.43% was the metrics last week. They're performing. So from a portfolio performance standpoint, I don't see a large wave of foreclosures occurring.
That's great. That's good
absolutely.
news. Yeah.
It is good news. The National Association of Realtors, we are seeing a slowing. There's no question about it. We're down about 16% year over year. Last week, year to date, we're down about 10% year over year. I attribute this as being actually reasonably healthy. How can that be healthy? We're going down. Yes, we are slowing. But we were at 45-year low interest rates, and we're at 45-year high of appreciation. Appreciation was 10 to 12% year over year. Never have we seen that in the last 50 years. And we had historically low mortgage rates. These two phenomena is simply unsustainable for market dynamics. It is unhealthy. So the fact that I'm seeing days on market increase or multiple offers decrease and the housing market slowing, I view this as positive. We're getting back to normalcy. Right now, the days on market is around 8. I think healthy is between 30 and 60, maybe upwards of 90. Right now, our inventory level was at 1.7. Last month, it reached 1.8, and now we're at 1.9. We are slowing. 1.8 is still historically low inventory levels. It is creeping up, and we are getting there, but I consider this predominantly right now heading back to normalcy, which I think is healthy for the overall economic activity of the housing. I will say
which
this.
makes sense. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because I think a lot of people are like, no, every house has got to sell. It's got to sell high.
No, look,
not necessarily then.
So the average house right now is selling. The average in California is selling for about 104% of list price. Again, that's not normal. And having appreciation 10% or 12% year over year is not normal. The housing over the last 75 to 85 years has typically followed pretty close to the CPI, Consumer Price Index, which is around 2.5%.
Okay.
So housing should be moving at 2.5%, 3.5% average per year. We've been at 10 and 12. That is completely unsustainable to continue at this pace. So the fact that we're going to go backwards here a little bit and go back to maybe the CPI of 2.5% to 3.5%, I think is healthy.
Yeah. Listen, that's a great response.
People should not panic today. It is absolutely slowing. We are seeing some shifts pretty quickly, and we're going to see more in the next week or two when the Fed increases the basis points again. We've seen mortgage rates increase yet again. That is affecting the demand for housing, and it will continue to slow it. Do I see a cataclysmic event happening? Not right now.
Okay. That's good news. That's great
absolutely.
news. Great news for our community. Todd Pigott with ZINC Financial. We're running out of time here. I really do appreciate you coming in. I guess my last question for you is if someone, and you're a skier.
I am a skier. I'm a skier.
I got to get this question in.
I'm a skier. I'm a mountain biker, and I'm a road biker. I'm a big outdoorsy guy. I'm not much for TV or movies or sedentary stuff. I'm a really big outdoor advocate.
You know what I want to rehab? China Peak.
Yes.
It needs to. I don't have enough money, but it needs a desperate rehab.
We have a place. We have a corporate retreat up at Huntington Lake, just north of China Peak, right about 2 minutes up there, and that's our corporate retreat. It's
awesome.
It's a ZINC-owned place, and our company uses it. I love China Peak. I'm a big mountain biker. There's a lot of mountain biking up there at the lake. Yes, I don't want to say too much on the air because I don't want to offend the people that are there.
I agree.
But really, gosh darn, guys, please, can we get that hotel from the 70s fixed up?
Amen, please.
Can we get the restrooms fixed up? Can we get some restaurants? Can we get some restaurant amenities up there? Can we get a really cool bar? I mean, you go to these other resorts and they have amazing bars. They have amazing amenities. China Peak, I'd really like to see that. I'd really like to see that develop as well as the surrounding area of the lake.
Hey, let's find a guy. Let's find an investor. You finance it. I'll be in charge of, communications, I guess. A coffee shop midway would be great. What's your favorite mountain? I got to ask. Where do you ski?
Ski? I ski at China Peak all over.
China Peak. Yeah. Have you ever been to Breckenridge?
I have not.
You gotta go.
I like Tahoe because of the amenities.
Yeah.
So I go to Tahoe and I like that. I've been to a few in Southern California, but China Peak's very close and we have a place there, so we visit there, and it's a great place for mountain biking as well.
It really is. We're really blessed to have less than 2 hours China Peak.
We're very, very lucky. Let's take care of it and get some good amenities up there where everybody can enjoy it.
Hey man, Todd Pigott, it has been an honor. ZINC Financial. If you're a flipper, you're a house flipper, you want some financing, give them a call. Socials, numbers, what do you want to give out?
Hey, you can visit us, investors. If you're interested in earning a fair rate of return, 8% or plus, you can visit us at zincinvesting.com. If you're a borrower and interested in flipping and need some money to do that, zincfinancial.com, or give us a call at the office, 559-326-2509. Have yourself an amazing afternoon in this wonderful Fresno warm weather.
Todd, thank you so much. You're listening to the best talk in town, Talk Radio 1550 KXEX.